There are some creatures who roam amongst the lands, while others are destined for the shadows. Thrown into the cruel world of the Isle Evrima, this baby Deinosuchus travels the lakes, looking for a river system where he can escape and find sustenance and safety. This is an epic story of survival with Barbie, the pink Deinosuchus. He checks and looks for other cannibalistic Deinosuchuses as he makes his way through the murky lakes. But in order to get to the river systems, he must cross the dangerous grasslands with fallen down trees and quick-setting mud. He is very, very exposed as he dashes to safety. But alas, he finds the river. After a brief period, Barbie heads upstream, beginning what would become one of the longest and arduous journeys of his little life. Crossroads, to go to the left, to go to the right. Only a child, but he is hardwired to hunt. The sun sets, and now Barbie finds himself alone in the dark, looking for his first meal as he begins to get tired from all the swimming. Movement in the water. A ball. He quickly bites and secures the kill before he spots another. But this will be Barbie's first mistake, because this is the first prey item that actually fights back. Barbie is hurt and bleeding, but determined to secure a second meal. But unfortunately for you, this is a tough lesson in hunting. So he returns back and grabs the first carcass to take to shore. And after feeling his belly, he rests all up before he notices something jump down from the tree. In fear he is being stalked, he gets ready to dash to the water as his fears come true. A Herrera comes rushing down the banks. Morning comes and Barbie returns, only to notice a pterodon has spotted his catch. Still licking his wounds from the wild boar, he gets into position and waits for the pterodon to be distracted. He dashes in and charges, lunges with everything he has, only to fail. He dashes back to the water and heads upstream, looking for something that's part of his diet to aid his growth. He notices structure, and structure is a good sign. This means there would be more dinosaurs and more food items. A quick look behind and a quick look ahead to make sure there are no cannibalistic Deinosuchuses in the area. But as he looks down, he notices something struggling in the water. Another hunt. A rabbit has fallen into the river system, and Barbie charges right after it, missing its first bite, and a second bite. But then he dashes in, and with a swift charge, ends the rabbit's life. The rabbit is taken up to a nearby bank, where it will be stored for food at a later time, away from other predators. Barbie then heads back into the water to move further upstream, when all of a sudden, his keen and growing senses alert him to something struggling in the water ahead. He locks on and dashes straight towards his next victim. A chicken that has lost its way. Barbie goes in and misses, but doesn't make the same mistake. The chicken is swiftly dispatched as it sinks to the bottom of the river. Barbie waits for it to float back up before securing it and taking it up onto another bank, where it will be stored for food if he can't find anything else, because chickens are not part of Deinosuchus' diet. Eating the chicken would mean no benefit to growth, and all it would do is fill the void in her stomach with empty nutrition. Barbie decides to head upstream to see what else lies ahead. Weighing at only 150 kilos, Barbie slowly checks the riverbanks. Moving up and downstream, day quickly turns to night and a storm takes over. He notices some food on the bank, guarded by a pair of serratos. He calls out to them in the friendliest of tones, but it falls on deaf ears, and Barbie retreats to the river system again. Desperation kicks in, and Barbie's stomach is beginning to empty. He quickly returns to the chicken and eats it. Despite having no nutrition, it's the only thing he has. And Barbie needs help. So he climbs up to the bank and grabs the rabbit he once hunted and takes it back upstream, looking for a friend, looking for an ally, looking for help. He returns back to the serratos, rabbit in count, and they see that it's too busy spinning around. He brings the rabbit up onto the bank and 2 calls to show his interest in being a friend. The serratos are not interested. So Barbie takes his rabbit and swings back off once again. But can't seem to find gravity. He pulls himself together and tries again. But his inexperience is making it hard for him to eat. But Barbie doesn't give up. And he goes higher this time. And finally, he is able to eat. Barbie dashes back into the river, and as he sinks down to the bottom, hiding in the shadows. He notices something swimming past. A friend. Hello. It's Luca. And what would be the beginning of an amazing and devastating friendship. Before we could even enjoy ourselves and celebrate in finding each other, a raptor up on the rocks, and their plan was quite simple: to use Barbie as bait. So Barbie called out and called out, but the raptor showed no interest as Barbie retreated back to the water. It gave signs of distress, and this seemed to attract the attention of the raptor on the rock as Barbie resurfaced onto the bank and let out a call. The raptor immediately made its way down. It charged Barbie and pinned him down by the water's edge, only for Luca to jump up and seal his fate. Finally a meal, finally some sustenance, and finally a victory, a good hunt. Whether well deserved or not, this would aid us in moving forward to become the ultimate predator. As Luca and Barbie reminisce on their successful hunt, the realization kicks in that there are other hungry predators around. So they quickly dispatch of the body and move on, looking for their next kill. As the pair travel downriver, they begin hearing sounds. Sounds all too familiar to Barbie. Sounds that would haunt any being, whether it be predator or other. Daytime breaks, and Barbie is now 500 kilos, looking for his next meal to sustain his newfound growth. All of a sudden, a dino is asking to sacrifice himself. Luca doesn't hesitate and quickly dispatches the little dino. Barbie is hesitant because there's a Serato at the water's edge. Feeling confident, Luca and Barbie quickly climb the bank and disembowel the little dino, quickly eating up his insides, and then making their way back up the river. The belly of a dino empties very fast, and this can drive them to hunt on land. But unfortunately, stamina is their biggest enemy. A failed lunge, nothing left in the tank to grab the ball. But Luca, being of bigger size, was able to swiftly grab and dispatch the ball, seeking to use it as bait. Not every hunt ends in success, a harsh lesson to learn, but the mindset of a dino is to never give up. And surely enough, food came right to Barbie. This time with plenty of stamina to swiftly dispatch D and eat it on the bank. Luca quickly joins to have his fill before the pair move on to their next hunting ground. They take the boar upstream into a popular hotspot where the raptor was caught earlier, and they place the boar on the bank as bait, hoping a land dweller will come in for a feed. Only this time it would be their last. Luca tended to the bait, as he was the larger of the two dinos, and was far better equipped to grab an unsuspecting prey item. Barbie patrolled the river up and down, looking for anything that could feed their emptying stomachs. When all of a sudden, a dino was heard calling in the distance. It seemed to Barbie and Luca that the sound was coming from where they had set their trap. The pair quickly dashed off, searching for this new dino who had intruded into their territory. Alas, they spotted the dino who had just made it down the waterfall. It was a dino by the name of Locke, a name that would reappear very, very soon. Barbie had already decided that he wanted to eat little Locke because 87% of his stomach was empty and the growling pain needed to be satiated. But Luca decided that Locke would live. So Barbie made sure that Locke knew who he had to thank for his life. And surely enough, Locke said thank you. Good boy, Locke. The pair then moved on, growing more and more desperate as they went back down the river. They decided to go back to their trap, only to find even larger dinosaurs that were well out of their grasp. No food, nothing but each other. But all of a sudden, a dino, decided to swim right by Barbie, and the hunger was just too much to bear. It was little Locke, but at this point, there was nothing he could do. Locke would have no one to come to his rescue, nothing to save him, and he would soon become a part of Luca and Barbie. Barbie quickly ate what he could, while Luca debated the moral aspect of whether we should be cannibals, or should we use Locke as bait. Barbie quickly set the tone and showed Luca that there was only one way, and that was to live our way. But unfortunately, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. A much larger dino had actually come to Locke's rescue and did not appreciate us eating our own species. Barbie quickly dived and hid under a bank bleeding profusely. He couldn't move too far and had to watch and listen to his friend get dispatched by this much, much larger dino. He then stated that Luca would now become bait. But even this was a bait that Barbie had to refuse. The sounds of Luca being torn apart ripped holes into Barbie's heart. But he knew he had to stay strong for his long gone friend and hold on to survival. Because no matter what happens in the aisle, survival is the name of the game. Barbie stayed hidden, listening and waiting. But the big dino stayed nearby, oblivious to where Barbie was hiding. But there was only so long Barbie could stay beneath the water, and he had to surface for air. He slowly stuck his snout out of the water, breathing in whatever he could. Looking over to his left, seeing his friend's body out by the riverbank, precisely laid as bait. The big Deinosuchus came back to the surface and began eating his friend's body. After devouring what was left of the carcass, he went in search of Barbie as he heard him re-enter the water. This was truly a time where the hunter had become the hunted. A true test for survival, as Barbie quickly dashed across the riverbed, looking to escape the clutches of the big Deinosuchus. Barbie found the crevice that he would shelter in for the night, only to hear the taunts from the large Deinosuchus about his deceased friend Luca. After some time had passed, Barbie very gently and carefully splashed back into the water and made his way further up the stream to relative safety, where he could finally lay down to rest, waiting for tomorrow's journey.